If you could, tell me a little about the beginning of where it kind of started for you and what instrument you played and how you kind of got involved with music.
Don, first of all, thanks for those very kind words. Maybe by the time we finish this, I'll figure out who you were talking about. But mine has been a very blessed journey.
Wow.
Okay. I was born in Greenville, Mississippi, and I wanted to play music.
Right.
My father was a Sunday school superintendent. So he and mom were on the same page, which they would say, son, this music that you're playing is not of the Lord.
Powerful. Very powerful.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm going to move forward just a bit. I got a road gig at that time, early 1965, by a guy named Ted Taylor, who was a major star at that time. And my parents say, Ted, who?
I had no idea.
No, because my parents were not radio people. Certainly were not club people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, whoever this guy, Mr. Taylor, is, he's going to have to come over here and talk to us. Now, wait a minute. No star is going to come over here in the hood,
That's
man.
old school. Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
However, Mr. Taylor was, he had children. So he kind of understood that.
Interesting.
So he came to the house, man, his little entourage, and people were coming outside and trying to peep in the window and whatever because they knew who he was.
Sure.
Okay? And, my dad questioned him, It's like, okay, now, Mr. Taylor, what happens to him when he's not performing?
Interesting question.
And they discussed it. Well, we have a road manager, and he's going to look after him and the whole bit. And finally, my dad said, okay. It's like, thank you, Lord. Then he went back to, this music is not of the Lord. Oh, my God. I went down. And then my dad hit me. He said, but because you are my son, if this is what you really want to do, I'm going to support you. Like, wow.
Huge.
Okay?
Huge.
The huge thing came the next day because he says, tomorrow we're going to go down to that music store and get that little thing you've been talking about.
Oh, interesting.
That little thing was a new electric piano.
Oh my gosh.
Wurlitzer that had 9 million screws in the top.
The Wurlitzer just had that little apps. I remember that clearly.
Okay.
Wow.
And if you broke a reed, it'll take you 3 days to open it up.
Undo it and take it out. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Last year, Father's Day, sitting in church, my attorney, my wife, and the whole bit. And not that the preacher wasn't on it, but he wasn't reaching me.
Wow.
So I had my iPad out, and I was writing things concerning my dad. And I named it That Piano. Because, see, it was that piano that took care of my dad when he got sick because there was no insurance.
Oh, wow.
So for over 10 years, I've got canceled checks of over $750,000 because of that little piano.
God, that's beautiful.
My dad never had a car.
Wow.
I bought him 3 because of that
Piano.
little piano.
Wow.
God has blessed me to own properties in the whole bit
Wow.
because of that little piano.
That's huge.
So all of a sudden I'm writing and I'm crying.
Yeah.
And it's coming out audibly.
Yeah.
And my wife said, you okay?
Yeah.
My church said, you okay? Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah.
So then I just passed them my iPad and they broke down.
Wow.
Because everything that I've been able to do, my sons, my daughters, the grandkids, the great-grandkids, and whatever,
Wow.
it's because of that little piano
Huge.
that my dad had to get on credit.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Blessings.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm sorry. We can get back to the music.
But that's a
now.
huge blessing. But that really is about the music part of it, because what we're speaking about is a driven force of passion. When someone has passion, as you had, to be involved with music, and maybe you didn't know why, but there was some gift and some special ingredient that was in your soul and your spirit that had to drive you towards music. which even allows us to have that story logged down for people to hear that. That's the cycle. It was from the Lord.
Yeah.
It was from the Lord.
Yeah.
Your dad may not have understood it at that time, but he eventually did understand that. That's absolutely huge. What motivated you to continue? Here you are, you were playing piano at the time, right? And singing.
I was faking
You were faking piano, right?
I couldn't play, man.
Well, you got some great faking chops, I'll tell you that. You made it work because you worked for years gigging and playing and doing it.
I did playing, and I eventually bought me a B3.
Right on.
You know, and traveled in the whole bit. But I used to work with like a trio, a drummer and a guitar player, and I was, playing pedals and singing.
Yeah.
And everybody thought I would take the road of a singer.
Right.
No, I had too much music in me. In high school, I grew enough that the band director had a little side band, and I graduated to play in that band. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's called the Green Tops. and I learned so much. Like, number one, being on time.
How huge?
Now, being on time didn't necessarily have anything to do with the gig.
Right.
We were the Green Tops.
Right.
So you had to have your black pants and your white shirt. When you get to the gig, you put on an after 6 jacket.
Right.
Green.
Right.
But if you weren't on time, a little guy like me got a 48 jacket. You know? I couldn't even see my hands, man.
Swim in it.
Yeah, I learned how to get to the gig early.
That's hysterical. That's hysterical.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah.
You learn so much.
But look at the business skills that you learn, because being on time is something which the younger generation has to understand.
Yeah.
And they don't sometimes understand that. And when they're not on time, there's a certain lack of professionalism that comes from what experience had taught you.
Oh, yeah.
You had to get there to make this gig happen. And
True.
on time.
So true.
Yeah.
But going back to my school, the band director, in Mississippi, we only had one high school that black cats could attend.
Right.
So it was a big school.
Yeah.
We had like 450 people in the band. So now, 3 of us went to the band director and said, we want to play whatever the tune was on the radio, the hit tune.
Right.
We want to play that at the football games.
Interesting.
He looked at us like, okay. Let's see now. I have band competitions, I have ceremonies, graduations, this, that, and the other. He named a bunch of stuff, whatever, and you want to play? Okay. Go write it.
He threw the task back to you guys.
Like, write it? How you write? So the 3 of us got together and we struggled, and we were able to write enough of the melody so people could identify the song.
Right.
And that was all it was, identifying the song.
Did you have any training at that time as far as nothing at all?
We were in high school.
Yeah, how interesting. Wow.
Okay?
Wow.
You have time to teach anybody how to write.
Right.
He has to adhere to his mandatories.
And get the band sounding decent so we can use it.
Yeah. Okay? But we came together and we wrote the melody, the trumpets, the trombones, clarinets, tubas, drums. Everybody played the same thing. Excuse me, you got to edit this, but it sounds like man. You know what I'm saying? However, it was enough that the crowd went, yay!
They can relate to it.
I say, I want to write. And from that point on, to now, God has truly blessed me, because my career has just been unbelievable in terms of me being an arranger.
Absolutely. But how did you learn the process? Did you start putting yourself through the skills that were needed to do it? Were you asking people? Did you find a teacher?
Well, no, there was no teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. At that particular time, what I didn't know is that I was honing my craft. And what I mean by that is that you hear something on the radio. It's a hit record.
Yeah.
But crazy me, it's like the drums should have been doing such and such and such.
Yeah.
And the piano player should have been playing.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Who are you to question these hits?
That's out there. Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
for everything I heard, I was not happy with it the way I heard it.
How interesting.
It needs to be so and so and so and so and so. And this is how God just comes in and molds you. Because now the companies say, here, Mr. Wright, put your take on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's how it began. Interesting.
And that's how it began. Now, I did become half legit. Because when I got drafted in the whole bit, there was a little school that you've heard of called Berklee School of Music.
Absolutely.
Most people don't remember that back in the day, Berklee was just a correspondence school.
Absolutely. That's how
Okay.
it started. That's exactly right.
Okay?
Exactly.
So I took the Berklee courses and I took the Carl Fisher courses.
Holy man, Carl Fisher courses. I get that.
I know you haven't heard that.
I have heard of them, but I haven't heard of them for years.
That's what
my
I'm
God.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. That's
Okay?
amazing.
I took that. I used to make 100s on everything.
Amazing.
But it was something that always threw me a curve.
Yeah.
When we got to the string stuff, you know, the violins were cool,
Yeah.
cellos, contrabasses,
Right.
but the violas played on another clef, and cats didn't know that.
Right. Right.
Haven't even seen that.
Right.
And it was throwing me a curve, man. But my papers were always 100. And I finally got a chance after the military and whatever, because I did most of my studying while I was in the military. Not doing my job, because I just wanted to do music.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? I got an opportunity to do a string date. And I was excited. But when it got to the violas, I clammed up. So, oh, Lord, okay. Is this going to be right? So the day of the session, I'm nervous because I haven't seen these instruments.
Yeah. This is a little
It's just been on the lessons, you know. just-
Correspondence, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I haven't seen one. You know? So the musicians assemble and we run it down. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm like, God, I hope I got the violas. Wow. It's right. Oh, it's right. Oh, and I got an attitude. I got this. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, what a confidence builder that is.
Yeah, I got this. Piece of cake. Once again, how God makes it.
Yeah. That's an ethics strength that you had, that you felt that committed to make it work.
Yeah.
And that's very, very powerful. How and when did you meet Duke Ellington?
I was in the military, and I got a gig with the society band in that town.
Right.
And they had a trumpet player named Fats Ford,
That's Ford, yeah.
who played with Duke Ellington.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time.
For years he played with Duke Ellington.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Fat was so hip. Everybody thought he was full of smack. You know what I'm saying? He spoke several languages, you know. We didn't know if it was the truth or not. You know, he'd just be talking. And man, he was just so hip. Okay? One day, Fats came to the yard, the military, said, come ride with me. Okay, I rode with him. He went over to Alabama State College. It's a big sign say, Duke Ellington tonight. Okay? Now, nobody ever believed anything Fats said, but he had the best gigs. Okay?
Interesting.
We found out where the Duke was, and they were having a meeting. And he opened the door, and everybody's head turned back, and everybody went like, Fats! Mr. Ellington, Fats! I'm blown away.
Boy, that verified fast for sure, right?
Verified.
Yeah.
Okay? Then, you know, meeting all the cats, talking to him and whatever. Then he took me by the hand and walked me right up to Mr. Ellington and told me, Mr. Ellington, how talented I was. I wasn't that talented. Because playing with him, it was just old men.
Yeah.
Okay? And I didn't know what we call tunes.
Right.
I knew stuff on the radio.
Right.
So you call the fantastic tunes, you know, with the wonderful major sevens and major nines and the whole bit.
Standards, yeah.
But I'm playing like Junior Walker chords.
Right.
How could you play that nasty seventh? Whatever. That's what I know.
Yeah.
And he would say, don't worry about those guys. Don't worry about it. You're doing great. You're doing great. I knew I wasn't doing great, but he did believe in me.
Yeah, yeah.
And when he took me to the Duke, and man, Mr. Ellington must have talked to me maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, amazing.
And I don't know nothing he said, because I think I was slobbering, you know. That was my Michael Jackson.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and it was such an impact on me that some years later, the Duke got sick and passed away.
Yeah.
And a few days after he passed away, my son was born.
Wow.
So what you gonna name him? Edward Kennedy Ellington, which is Duke's name.
Yes.
And we were consummated with a Wright on the end. So that's what it meant to me.
That is beautiful. That's beautiful. You know, the experiences that you've had in being motivated to be in this industry and grow. I mean, really what you have done is you have continued to grow.
Yeah.
And you have this, it's obvious by seeing all the different people that you worked on that you have a willingness to take on different types of music and learn and listen and be youthful with what's happening even today.
Well, you know, take on all types of music. You're consistently hit with what kind of music you do. Good.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're waiting for me to say something else.
Yeah.
There's nothing else for me to say.
That's-
I do good music.
That's great.
Now, all the music in the world comes from 5 lines and 4 spaces. It's not but 12 notes in the whole universe.
That's right. That's right.
And nobody wants to believe that. 12 notes? What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah,
But that's it.
yeah.
Okay, how do we do it? Go to the piano and hit a pop C. So you can't find the middle C. Excuse me, go play a rock and roll C. Could you play me a jazz C?
That's a great line.
It's the same note. You can call it what you want.
Absolutely.
But in my business, I do music.
Yeah, yeah.
You call it what you want.
Right.
It's the same stuff.
Absolutely. What was the next stage? Were people contacting you? Were they calling you? Were you meeting people by playing with them? How did this all develop?
For as long as I've been around, I never had a manager until last year.
That's great.
Okay?
Great.
So my work has been my calling card.
Huge.
In terms of how the work came, you know, I got an attitude about this one. They said, Michael Jackson, Quincy Jones, how'd you? They call me.
How cool. How cool.
They call me.
How cool.
I don't call no record company,
Right on.
no artist, whatever. They find me.
I mean, Quincy, you know, in our industry, when you say Quincy, you only have to use his first name. I mean, the depth of what he has done. We say the Duke, you know, there's certain people. What was it about Quincy Jones that, I mean, he was a horn player, then got involved in playing and writing and arranging and producing. I mean, here's a man that, like yourself, has really kind of reached and widened out to everybody.
Yeah.
That even the younger generation is still seeking out your knowledge and still seeking out to want to be involved with what you're doing.
Well, one day the phone rang. Hello? Benjamin Wright? Yes? This is Quincy Jones. Quincy who? Quincy Jones. I'm like, right. Quincy who? Quincy Jones. So I'm thinking, it's one of these damn guitar players just messing with me. Okay? Kept talking, whatever, and I said, who? Quincy Jones. Well, the good part about it is Quincy was so huge that he knew somewhat of the impact he had on young cats.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Then he gave me, you know, he talked about Michael Jackson. He gave me an address to come to. And when the address is in Bel Air, none of my friends lived in Bel Air. Okay? I only knew where Bel Air was because when I first got to LA, I went to the UCLA film school.
Interesting. Wow.
So when you're going west on Sunset Boulevard, you have to turn left into UCLA.
Absolutely.
But if you turn right, it says, welcome to Bel Air.
Absolutely. I know the sign, man.
Okay? So, man, I get to the house and I'm nervous. And the lady comes to the door. It's like, I know this lady.
Yeah.
That was Peggy Lipton.
Oh, wow.
Peggy Lipton had been in the television series Mod Squad.
Sure.
You remember?
Yeah, sure. Mod Squad, yeah.
Beautiful lady.
Beautiful girl, yeah.
I knew her.
Yeah.
And I also knew that she was married to Quincy Jones.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so I'm in the right place.
How funny is
Okay,
that?
let me cool down a little bit. Okay? And she's so nice and so
Yeah, she was
generous and hooked.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, okay. Benjamin, just walk with me. Walk in, it's Q. The first time I ever saw Q in person.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, yeah, man, whatever, so and so. And then you find out that you never know who's watching you. I didn't call Quincy Jones.
Yeah. So you meet Quincy, he gives you a cassette of Michael Jackson.
He gives me this cassette, and he gives me 30 days to write. I've never had 30 days to complete an assignment, okay? So now, here it is. Every day I'm like, what do I write? Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
The cat has done everything. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
What do I write? And man, we got down to about 3 days before the session. And I can hear the Lord speaking to me. It's like, hey, Benjamin, you better put some notes on that paper. You got a session to do. I finished it. I never walk in the studio insecure. I have an attitude, you know, walk in, this is my house.
Good.
Okay, let's go, guys.
Yeah.
Okay? But with the Quincy Jones session, I was scared to death. Okay? I get there a little early, and somebody says, hey, Ben! Look around, and it was the engineer, Bruce Swedien.
Oh.
I knew Bruce
Oh, is that
from Chicago.
How amazing.
Brunswick Records and Universal and the whole, come on. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Then Bruce says, Q, it's going to be a piece of cake. Benjamin's here. Oh, man, I don't need any more pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, my God, Bruce, you just stabbed me in the back, man. But as God would have it, musicians come in, we run it down. Now, I'm watching Quincy out of the corner of my eye in the control room. And this cat is falling on his knees and whatever. It's like, oh man, I really must be messing up. Okay? Not knowing how his antics are.
Right.
Whatever. And we finished that take, and I went into the control room so they could kind of tell me, okay, you know, check this out, check that out, whatever. And Quincy's like, this is a mother! Wow! This is the... And his expressions are so strong,
Yeah.
it's frightening to me, you know? And that song was the first hit of the album. Don't stop till you get enough.
Oh,
Keep on.
Absolutely.
And I'm very proud to say, and I didn't come up with this. Somebody else mentioned it to me. He says, this string line that you wrote is one of the most popular string lines in the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the Off the Wall album.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
You know, even from a drumming standpoint,
Yeah.
that was always inspiring because it was rhythmically inspired that it laid the groove down so well. The string section was laying the groove down.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had never experienced that before. So you broke a rule that even in the percussion studies, we started listening to the string parts because they were a part of now the rhythm
Yeah.
section of what was happening.
Yeah.
Boy, that is very, very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and Quincy, when you get the approval of Quincy Jones,
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't, in our industry, it just doesn't, there's nothing bigger than that.
Listen, he made me one of his call everyday friends.
Wow.
You know, It was a major part of my life.
Wow.
I had a tragedy after that. My oldest child, her husband, and their next door neighbor were killed in a car accident. And Q was in Paris at the time. And I still can't figure out how he got the word so fast.
Wow.
It wasn't on the news.
Right. Wow.
But the next day, the phone rang.
Wow.
It was Q, And, he kept saying, man, I don't know how you can handle this, such and such and such. And as Q does it, he would call every day.
Right.
So what a friend.
Powerful man, and a very emotional man. I used to go down to the Village Vanguard in New York City and watch him play trumpet at the Village Vanguard with Thad and Jones and Mel Lewis Band. And he used to come in and pop in. He was a brilliant musician and artist in his own right. What is it, when you think about your career and you think of highlights and maybe even challenging times, were there challenging times that you went through that you kind of had to, barrel your way through to get through? Were there difficult times that stick out at all, that tested your passion for music?
Yeah. I was the Temptations music director. And I was a major part of them leaving Motown to go to Atlantic, Jerry Greenberg.
Right.
Okay. I didn't know anything about my contributions would have equated me getting a piece of money. But my head wasn't there.
Yeah.
My head was, I'm going to produce the first album. And that's going to be a major thing, Temp's first album away from Motown.
Yeah.
I was so excited, man. And about 3 weeks into it, I said, we need to talk to you. We're going to have to take you off the album. What? Because your name isn't big enough to protect the investment.
Oh my gosh.
That's what was said to me.
Wow.
I cried. Tears.
Yeah.
I cried tears. I'd never been hurt like that before.
Wow.
So, once again, my God, I said, okay, the hell with the music business.
Yeah.
I'm out. And I started running with a cat named Logan Westbrook, who was a big music executive. And we would run LA every day looking for properties. I'm going to become a real estate man. Found properties, I got involved a whole bit. The hell with the music business. That lasted 1 month. 30 days, man. I couldn't get it out of my system. And then I had this attitude, I'll show them. I'll show them. So what happened? Earth, Wind, and Fire called. I did the Boogie Wonderland.
Wow.
Okay. Quincy called. I became music director for Aretha. Everything I touched turned to platinum.
Wow.
And my thing was like, yeah, I'll show you guys.
Right on. Yeah, there it is. That's
progressed.
Yeah.
All of those who stabbed me degressed. And I don't want to kick anybody. That's not where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
But that's the way it happened.
But that drove you. That was an impetus for your driving force.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I haven't had that thing to get out of the music business anymore.
Right.
I've been very blessed. Certainly we go through times when, is somebody going to call?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right. Right.
I went through a thing a few years ago with Mr. Justin Timberlake. I'm complaining. Man, nobody loves me. Even Justin Timberlake doesn't love me anymore. I'm starving over here.
Yeah.
The phone rings. Mr. Wright, yeah. This is so and so from Justin Camp. Justin and Timberland needs to see you this afternoon in studio. The cat's talking real fast and very aggressive. And I said, I can't make that. I'm in Detroit at the moment. and I'm conducting the symphony for Earth, Wind, and Fire. A lot of times when they go out and do symphony days,
Yeah.
they have to have a conductor.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, when will you be in, sir? Oh man, this cat might slap me. I'll be in Monday. Well, can you be at the studio at 10 a.m.? Yes, sir. 10 a.m. Monday, I'm there. A bunch of young cats in the studio. So I'm talking smack. It's like, man, you know, Justin doesn't love me anymore, man. You know, I done hits on the first 2 albums, and the cat don't even like me no more, man. And Justin comes in and he's cracking up. Everybody's just laughing like crazy. Finally, Justin said, Mr. Wright, let me see if I got this right. You worked on the first album I did, right? Yeah. He said, now, you worked on the second album, didn't you? Yeah, what point you trying to make? He said, Mr. Wright, this is the third album, and you're here. Okay, you got to delete this. I got to say that. I said, okay, it, man, let's go to work. And that was a major situation too, because as I began to write on that, I made comments even to my son. I said, the stuff I'm writing is going to have a major impact on the industry. Well, we know that the 2020 album was released and it went through the roof.
Really phenomenal.
Okay.
Phenomenal music.
So, you know, I once again acknowledge who gives me the music. Thank you, Lord.
Well, it's powerful to see how your spiritual sense has guided you from the beginning to even as powerful right now. I mean, that is a huge, important message for the next generation to see.
Thank you.
In closing, what would you say to the next generation?
Well, one of the things is, and I have to look at it from what you do so wonderfully from an education standpoint. It's like you got to learn the music, because kids are talking about beats, and we have machines that are just designed for beats. Okay, as you know better than anybody, in the school systems, the first cut is the music department.
Exactly right.
Okay, now I look at it this way. Unfortunately, all the super minds in education can't seem to understand that most of the kids who do music elevates in math.
Absolutely.
Music is math.
Absolutely.
First thing you do in music is fractions.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
Okay?
Exactly.
So the administrators and whatever doesn't seem to understand that.
Yeah.
So I say the education of music should be mandatory, because it goes beyond just the music, just the audio part of it.
Yeah.
It increases your math.
Absolutely.
Okay? Even those who do algebra and geometry and trig and whatever, you go back to the basic music and math, okay? Whole note,
Yeah.
4 beats, half note, 2 beats, quarter note, oh, that's 1 beat. 8 notes.
Right.
1 and 2, no, 1 and 2 and 3
Exactly
and 4.
right. 16th.
16th.
Exactly right.
1 and a da 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 da.
Exactly right.
Oh, wait a minute. As a string guy, I live on 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so give me 8 notes to that 1 beat.
Exactly right.
Okay, but wait. In order for you to be the authentic Benjamin Wright, there's got to be some 64th notes in there, man, because I write fast stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Yeah,
Yeah, wait. I need some 128 notes there. It's big time math.
Yeah.
Big time math,
Right.
you know. And that's what I say.
Boy, that is a great message for the next generation. It's amazing, Benjamin, what you have done, and the spirit of how you explained it is so prevalent in today's music that it will last the sense of time.
Wow.
What you have done, your music lasts a sense of time. When there is no Benjamin Wright, there will always be your influence that people will have for generations to come. That is powerful.
I appreciate that. But let the record show that I'm going to at least do a Bill 50. So I'm going to be here for a minute.